If adding layers makes your drop feel flatter instead of bigger, this is probably why. If your drop has a lot going on but still doesn't feel big, the problem isn't usually that it needs more. In fact, most of the time layers are fighting each other, and that makes a section feel busy instead of big. So in this video I want to show you how to fix that with clearer focus, clearer movement and more depth in the part. And believe me, this goes way beyond balancing and EQing. So the first thing that can happen that makes a drop or a section of your song feel busy instead of big is because of the movement. When too many layers are pumping, moving or pushing rhythm at the same time, the energy stops feeling focused. And the whole section starts feeling more crowded than powerful. So when this happens here, movement is a huge part of what makes a track feel exciting. And because of that, we producers often think that static means boring, but that's not really true. Listen to the lead and the pluck together. They're both pulling focus and both of them are so active in their movement. So if I want these two parts to work well together, one of them needs to carry the movement and the other one needs to calm down a little bit. Since lead is the main focus here in this drop, I'm taming the pluck a little bit. So at the moment we have kickstart, for example. So we have a little bit of ducking on the pluck and also on the lead sound. But I'm deactivating this one on the pluck. And this is so simple. Instantly, the lead and the pluck feel more aligned because the pluck is more static and the lead is the one pushing the movement. Another thing that can make movement feel busy is melodic activity. That's totally fine for the hero element, in this case the lead, but for the supporting sound like this pad, it's too much melodic movement, and this can start pulling attention away from the main idea. So you're listening to the atmosphere with the pad instead of the lead sound, which should actually in the center of attention. The fix here is simple, because all I'm doing is simplifying the MIDI of the pad. Simplicity is key after all, right? So with this, there's also not that much going on anymore in the pad, and that's absolutely fine because we want attention on the lead, not on the pad. Complex melodies can make a sound feel more interesting on its own, but they can also make it more likely to compete with everything else. And this is always the main problem, when different parts of a song are fighting each other, not good. So with just two changes, the whole drop already feels more focused and cohesive without touching EQ or levels at all. But we're still not there yet, because the second problem is presence. When too many sounds feel equally bright, close, wide or sustained, the section loses depth. And instead of sounding bigger, it just feels more like in your face. Sound can feel completely different depending on where in the mix it sits. So when we listen to this pad again, it feels really bright. And when you put another bright sound next to the lead, they start competing for attention. So the goal isn't just to turn support sounds down, the goal is to give them a better place in the mix. What I'm gonna do is putting the pad sound one octave lower, and instantly it feels darker, calmer, and less in the way. Now it has this very mysterious vibe and I love it. So you could say we found our pad a new home because now it plays in slightly different frequencies than before and doesn't collide with the frequencies of the lead sound. That's the important part. And another big part of presence is time, because the longer a sound stays open, the more space it occupies in this section. So listen to this plug again. And when I reduce the decay and the sustain, it becomes much shorter. And because the plug isn't the main element and we shortened it, it gives the lead more room to matter. And again, with just 2 tiny changes, the whole section already feels deeper, clearer, and less crowded. So we achieved a lot by pushing some very simple knobs and not touching level or EQ. And the last step I'm gonna show you is a really simple audit. Because sometimes a layer sounds good on its own, but inside the full section, it's not really adding impact. It's just adding more stuff. And we music producers are awesome in putting in stuff that isn't necessary for the song. So it's not pushing it forward, it's not improving it, it's just adding noise and occupies frequencies. So whenever a part feels busy, I like to do one very simple test. I just mute a layer and ask, am I actually losing impact here? Or am I just losing density? So let's try this with the plug and the pad. So if muting a layer makes the drop feel weaker in a meaningful way, then it's probably doing an important part. And you may notice the huge impact muting the plug had on the whole section. But if muting it mostly just makes the section feel a bit less full, out really reducing the energy, the focus, or the emotional impact, then the layer probably isn't helping as much as you initially thought. And that doesn't mean you always have to delete it now. So sometimes it just means simplify it, push it back, or stop letting it compete with the important stuff, like we did in this video with some parts. Because a bigger drop is not just about having more layers, it's about making sure the right layers actually matter. And very important, small details can still have a huge impact on the song, even if the impact is subtle. A good way to check the impact is to listen with very low volume, because a lot of these very tiny elements work best when you don't really notice them while they're playing, but you miss them, or you at least miss something in your feeling when they're not there. And big doesn't happen when everything feels important. It happens when the right thing does. If this video gave you a new view on how to view your parts of the song or your drops, then please leave a like. Subscribe to the channel and let me know which topic I should cover next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.